Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, all of the above, it's my weekly wrap-up. Okay, so normal format for this today. I'm going to talk about the books I have read this week, talk about what I'm going to be reading next week, and some kind of general channel stuff as well. So let's do the books I'll be reading first. So before I start, actually, so I'm getting over a cold. So if I'm a little bit croaky or nasal, apologies for that. I had a couple of days in bed, but I'm feeling a lot better now, thankfully. So yeah, it's been a bit of a weird week because of that, which has meant my recording schedule is has been all over the place. And whereas normally I have a few videos in hand that are recorded already, at the time I'm recording this, I don't have anything, which makes me feel a bit anxious, to be honest with you. So yeah, I need to get some more stuff recorded so I have that little buffer to give me the sense of comfort that I need for the channel. Anyway, right, so what have I read this week? So in order of reading, Caribbean Kill by Don Pendleton from the Executioner series. So as you might have guessed from the name, this has Mac Bolan, the Executioner in the Caribbean, taking on the mafia there. It's typical Executioner stuff, not a fantastic one, but certainly very entertaining. Loads of action, yeah, and an entertaining mix of you know, a little bit of humour, not too much humour, mostly action, a bit of intrigue, some good baddies in this one, but yeah, fairly standard Executioner stuff, but I did enjoy it. Next up, from the Gorean Chronicles by John Norman, Captive of Gore. So this is a book that Greg from Another Bibliophile predicted was going to turn me off the Gore series for life. I'm not sure it did, to be honest with you. So it's different from the previous books in that all the previous books in the series, and this is book 7, so the previous 6 books have all been told from the perspective of Tal Cabot, who's this Earthman who's gone to counter Earth, as it is known, this kind of backwards planet called Gore. What's different about this book is that it's told from the perspective of an Earth woman who's been transported to Gore, and you know, is enslaved, as women on Gore tend to be, and it's, you know, it's really about her experiences. So it was kind of interesting in that it as like a 7th book in the series, in that it makes you think again about all the things you've encountered before, because you're seeing them from a different character's perspective. It was very readable. I criticised the last couple of books, I think, for not having that much action in them, and this one was similar, albeit there was some decent action towards the end. And yeah, how do I feel about it? I guess how I feel about it is, you know, and I've said this on the channel before, the Gore series as a whole is pretty objectionable in terms of its treatment of women, and the fact that, you know, the whole philosophy behind the books is that you know, women should be submissive to men. Now that said, it's no worse in this book than it is in any of the previous books. It's a bit more in your face because it's told from the perspective of a female character, and there was one sequence in particular that was actually pretty horrible. But aside from that, it's a similar kind of silly pulp adventure to, you know, to the other books in the series, and it hasn't made me stop wanting to read them. No, that sentence didn't make sense. Hasn't stopped making me want to read them. So I will be continuing with the series. I can see why people, you know, would particularly dislike this one, but I didn't think, as I say, I didn't think it had anything in it that wasn't really present in the series already. It's just a bit more on the forefront in this one. After that, I read a Richard Laymon book, The Cellar, which was absolutely bonkers. It was very silly, but quite entertaining. And it was one of those books that I liked more and more the more I read of it. So it's about this place called Beast House, which is a house where many people have died in the past, supposedly because there is a strange beast that lives in the house. The woman who owns the house, whose family were killed by the beast, supposedly, takes people on tours of the house. She says repeatedly in the book, you know, why would I do this? Well, I just do it for money. and some other characters are involved in trying to get to the bottom of what's been going on in the house. And this one guy who's like a kind of soldier of fortune type character is hired by an old man whose family used to live in the house, who I think lost some family members to the beast. He hires this mercenary to go into the house and find the beast and kill it. It just, none of it makes any sense at all. The ending in particular makes no sense and is completely over the top and weird. But it's really entertaining. There's a great sequence where they find these kind of Victorian diaries from this woman who used to live in the house, who had a relationship with the beast, who she calls Xanadu. I think it was Xanadu. Yeah, it's really off the wall, crazy Laymon stuff. When Laymon, I've criticised Laymon on the channel before for things he does. But with something like this, it's just so bonkers that I couldn't help but love it. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's been quite a trashy week so far. So Executioner, Captive of Gore, The Cellar. Next up, more trash. So The Cannibal by Jack Cannon, aka Nelson DeMille. So this is the 4th book in the Joe Ryker series. For some reason, I seem incapable of reading these books in the right order. There's 6 of them that were written by DeMille. I've got all 6 of them, but this is the 2nd one that I've managed to read out of order. I don't know why, I just keep getting confused about the order. So I'd read book 5 already before reading this one. But yeah, this was pretty good. One of the better ones in the series. So Joe Ryker is this tough New York cop who's a bit of a bastard, to be honest with you. And in this one, he's going up against a cannibal, as you might guess from the title, who lives in the sewers, who's like an ex-Vietnam vet who was held captive by the Viet Cong and forced to eat human meat, or long pig as they refer to it in the book. And he's now in New York, living in the sewers, eating more people. And Joe Ryker goes after him. So it's pretty gruesome. There's a lot that's not nice about this book in terms of its, treatment of ethnic minorities and things like that. But as a gritty, grubby pulp adventure, it was quite a lot of fun. And it's got some fantastically entertaining dialogue, like Joe Ryker like shouting at the creature at the end and telling him if it wants to eat him, it can eat his shoes and things like that. Yeah, it was again like The Cellar. It was fairly bonkers, but quite entertaining. After that, I read something much better. So Below by Laurel Hightower. So I will be doing a standalone review of this on the channel. It comes out this coming week. So it's a short horror novel or horror novella. I think it's about 120 pages about a woman who gets into all sorts of trouble, including being chased by a Mothman type character. But yeah, a really gripping read. Really exciting, really gory, quite chilling in places, but quite deep too. Really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll talk a bit more about it in my review, but I definitely recommend this one. And it will be a perfect choice for Horror Mayhem in May, if you're doing that, because it's under 250 pages. So that leads me to what I'm reading at the moment, and indeed what I will be reading next week, and that is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. So this is my pick for March of the Mammoths. It clocks in at, I think it's about 950 pages. So yeah, definitely qualifies as a mammoth. So I'm doing a buddy read of this with Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl. We're both very much enjoying it so far. So I am about 370 pages through, so about 40% through. Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't believe I've never read it. I've had this copy for quite some time. But it's really good. So a classic, grand, epic Western adventure about this group of guys who are ex-Texas Rangers who now run a kind of livery slash kind of ranch type place in this town called Lonesome Dove. We've got just all the characters are fantastic. So there's some great female characters as well as the male characters. There's this prostitute, Laurel, I think she's called, who's a brilliant character, really well crafted. And it's much funnier than I was expecting. It's really quite a funny book in places. Some great, like his description of kind of relationships between men and women in particular is brilliant. A lot of the men, and I guess this is, you know, probably to an extent the nature of the Wild West, we're just not used to having to speak to women at all, and just do not know how to act, and just go completely shy and don't know what to do, and just feel very awkward. So yeah, it's really, really entertaining. This is a much loved book by many people. Indeed, it's a book that has been picked as one of the Birth Year books for the Birth Year Book Challenge that or Birth Year Book Tag that I put up. So yeah, it's a worthy choice for a favourite Birth Year book. It's very good indeed. So yeah, I've still got 600 odd pages, so this will certainly see me through over the weekend, I expect, and into the beginning of next week. And then after that, I'm not sure. I will have read pretty much everything I intended to read in March. So yeah, may sneak in a couple more short things towards the end of the month. Also worth noting, of course, that this is book 100 of my 100 book challenge. So as soon as I finish this, I'm free to buy books again. So I've already got a bit of a wish list of things I might buy. I've created an Amazon wish list so I don't forget what I've thought of buying, and also intending to get out and do a tour of some charity shops as soon as I can too. See what bargains I can pick up there. So yeah, looking forward to finishing this, A, because it's very good, but B, because it frees me from the shackles of the 100 book challenge. So yeah, in terms of channel stuff over the last week, so I put my announcement video for Horror Mayhem up. I talked about some of the things I'll be reading for that. I had a review of Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough that went up, a What's Lurking on My Kindle video, as well as a tag video. I can't remember which tag I did now. Oh, I did the personal library kind of semi-tag that Shelley Swearingen created, so that was quite fun to do. In the week ahead, as I said, I'll have a review of Below going up. I'm going to do probably the Skip to My Loo tag, although I have been tagged in another video this week, so I need to do that one too. And I may try and get a box of books down from the attic to do a proper library tour video. So yeah, there'll be something going up on Wednesday anyway, either a library tour or another Kindle video tag. And also the other thing, so I've put up on the community tab that I'll be reading Watership Down, which I've got a copy of here. So I'll be reading this in April, and this will be the first of the favourite Birth Year books that I'll be reading. So if anyone wants to take part in that, look out for the post that I put up on the community tab, and comment in that if you'd like to take part. I will be creating a Discord at some point, so we can use that to discuss this and other books as well if people want to. There's a few people who said they'd like to take part already, so it'd be, I think, a really fun book to read together as the first Birth Year book. And then once we finish this one, we can then vote on what one we will read next. So yeah, that's the wrap up for this week. As always, hope everyone's safe and well. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I will speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.